Wahid, this is the Global Digest think tank group. Hey, what's your background and what are you doing right now?
First of all, I was born in Burkina Faso, but I'm also a Nigerian. So I usually tag myself a dual citizen. So I got into US around August 2023. That's August 2023. So I started my PhD from there. So initially I was in Oklahoma, but right now I stay in Virginia. So I had to change school at some point.
In organic chemistry and cancer metabolism. So,
That's fine.
how can you say about cancer issue? What is inorganic chemistry and what is cancer metabolism?
That's a very good question and it's very broad. So I will take it like this. Cancer is a type of disease that do happen in different type of our body. There are serious type of cancers that we have. And the main definition that we can give cancer is they are type of cells because as you see our body, we also have cells. But the difference between the human cells and cancer cells is that the cancer cells, they tend to multiply more than they require. Let's say, for example, if our body cells multiply, if they divide, let's say 10 per 1 minute, for cancer cells, they can divide like 1 million in a minute, which is not normal. Is not normal.
So
So
it means
usually
cancer cell is very fast
it's
compared to
very fast. Yeah, they develop,
ordinary
they multiply
organism.
faster than required. You understand? So, and
Right.
if they do this, they tends to form something we call a lump, like something like a boil. You know what boil is? Like they will form like a boil around where it occurs. So, usually we call them I forget this name. Like they just form something like it will pop up like like a boil, like lump or something. But there are some type of cancer that if this happen, you cannot really see it outside your body. So you have to like do scan or series of medical discoveries before you can know, okay, this person has a cancer. But specifically, I'm working on breast cancer. That is what my research is on currently. So breast cancer, the type that I'm working on is called triple negative breast cancer. This type of cancer, they are really, really hard to treat. They are really hard to treat. And there's a reason for that. The reason for them that makes them to be hard to treat is that they do not have a target. Like sometimes, if something happens, let's say I have a headache, I want to take let's say Tylenol or maybe paracetamol. The paracetamol, the way it works, it has a target. If you take it in your body, it will go somewhere and then reduce the pain and the fever, right? But for this triple negative breast cancer, there's no target, no target in the body. So if you take in any drug to suppress the triple negative breast cancer, you only take it to reduce either the pain or the number of the or the rate at which the cell divide. So this is what makes them that, okay, if you take drug at some point, the body tends to have several side effects because the drug that you take, it doesn't only affect the cancer cell, but it affects some other things in the body because there's no target directly on the cancer cell. So that's why you see some people, if they have cancer and they are under medications, they are under therapy, at some point, even if they are out of the cancer, if they are treated, maybe after a few years, they will develop some symptoms from the medication. This is because of the side effect from the treatment that they have. But what I'm currently doing, so I'm doing two different things. There's something we call bioinorganic chemistry. So I'm trying to synthesize inorganic compounds. Inorganic compounds, they are the compounds that do have like a central metals. If you look at periodic table, you should know what periodic table is. So where we have elements, like elements in chemistry. So periodic table, there's a section that have group of metals. So if you see any compound that have central metals that is surrounded by organic or maybe any other compounds, we call them inorganic compound. So I'm trying to synthesize platinum complexes, platinum compound to treat triple negative breast cancer. That is one part of my research. The other part of my research, I'm trying to use natural products. Specifically, I'm using broadleaf thyme. There's a plant we call broadleaf thyme. It's a natural product and it has a very good aroma, like a very good scent. So there are a series of research they have done on broadleaf thyme to treat different cancers, but they have not really used it on triple negative breast cancer. So that is why I want to like extract something from this leaf and then use the extract to treat some cancer cell lines, specifically triple negative breast cancer. The reason why I'm doing this, there are some commercial drugs like cisplatin, vincristine. They are the drugs that are already approved for people that have cancer. So most of people that have already taken this drug, they do have a lot of side effects, ranging from body toxicity, liver damage, and kidney damage. So that is why we are not trying to use like alternative, like something natural that they can use to beat the side effects. Hopefully, the natural product will not have any side effects. So that is the idea behind that. That okay, if we are not using a synthetic product, if we use a natural product, hopefully the side effect will be reduced. So that is the plan. And along the way, there are some commercial drugs, like I said earlier, if you are using them to treat cancer, they don't completely kill the cancer cell. They suppress them. What I mean, they suppress them, like they reduce the rate at which they affect the body. So that's why anybody that have cancer cells, so the cancer treatment, they have to like continue doing it until the cancer level reduced to a very minimal level. So the other idea of my research is to combine the two, combine the synthetic drugs and natural drugs and use it to treat one's cancer cell line. You understand? So that is why probably maybe the efficacy will increase if we do the combination therapy than one treatment therapy. So yeah, that is overview of what I'm trying to do on my research.
I don't know. Maybe there are many people have done research on blood cancer. Usually, who has blood cancer, they have no chance for survive, right?
Mhm.
Anybody have done research or not yet, or how can you say compared to what you are doing, or you will be come fast if you successes? How is the cancer blood research background?
Actually, blood cancer is, like you said, is one of the dangerous cancer that is difficult to treat as well. Like I said earlier, if you hear that anything is difficult to treat, there are two things that back it up. The first thing is there's no target. The second thing, that means even the cancer, they they divide more than each other. Let's say, for example, if you have lung cancer. Lung cancer, it takes a lot of time for it to divide. But those cancer that are really, really um that are really difficult to treat, they multiply very, very fast. They multiply very, very fast. That's why it's difficult to treat. But for the case of the blood cancer, I don't really have much idea on blood cancer, but there was a time I read something. The reason why it is difficult to treat because the rate at which we breathe, we breathe in oxygen and then we breathe out carbon dioxide. The oxygen, which is there's a protein that aids in the production of oxygen that we breathe in, which is hemoglobin. So this hemoglobin is tampered with by the cancer cell lines. That is why it is difficult. Hemoglobin is difficult to target in the body. Anything that deals with blood is really difficult to take. And then the blood cancer also is not one of the cancer that is not really common where I am. So I have little knowledge on it, but I know the reason why it is difficult to treat is the hemoglobin that produces the oxygen. Once it is invaded by the cancer cell lines, it is very, very difficult to treat. Yeah. So which reduces the number of oxygen that is produced in the body. Of course, if you don't have oxygen, then your body, nothing in your body will work perfectly. If oxygen is not in your body, so just forget it. So that's why people hardly survive it. You see, most of them, they usually go for artificial oxygen first as they are doing their treatment because the oxygen produced in their body is very low once they are contacted with this cancer.
Yes.
I I don't until I make a research on that. I do not have much knowledge on blood cancer.
So
Recently, there are some podcast, I mean, some documentary on I don't really know how true is that. I saw them on LinkedIn from some of the university in South Korea or something that they have successfully treated blood cancer or something. But sometimes people demonstrate things from AI that looks like that looks to be true, but I do not read more on that because usually we focus more on what you are researching on. But right now that you bring up the issue of blood cancer, I'll be very interested in reading that. Yeah, I
right.
will I will try and do that. I will do research on that.
I mean, blood cancer issue is still not successfully solved yet, I guess. So you just beginning of your research.
There was a research I did in my former school, but that was not um that was not inorganic compound. That was organic compound. So, I mean, if you look at there's a paper about, I don't know, maybe the paper is online. So it's about, we use series of cancer cell lines, but we treat the cancer cell lines with organic compounds. So there are a lot of sources, like, we had around 80 to 86 or something. So if you Google my name, just go to my Google Scholar. So the paper was published in 2024, and there's another one 2025. So it's a biosynthesis of sulfonamide. You might not have a really good idea about that, but there was a really good success on that paper when we try to use this organic product to treat the cancer cell line. In addition to that, I also did some research. I did some research on what's it called? Um that's in that form in my former school on oil. There's something we call natural oil. I forgot the name. So the reason why I changed school was I was having problem with my advisor in my former school. So yeah, in USA it's easy to change school, but changing school is not that difficult as well because usually we depend on funding. So if you are changing school, you want to make sure that the school you are going to, they are ready to take you in and they have funding for you. Unless you pay your tuition and every other things by yourself. So before I left my former school, I made sure that I applied to this my current school and I got admitted, and then I also got a professor that I really like or that wanted to work with me. So before I left, yeah, tuition is really high here, so it's not something that you can take care of easily.
So you
So
get funding, right?
exactly, yeah, I have funding.
So in US, changing university and professor, no big problem, right? They don't make any. I mean, old professor will angry you, and he may block or may drop.
Uh,
You cannot.
usually the
It's something.
usually the Usually, the old professor will be angry, but your happiness really matters. If any student is not willing to stay, you can't force them. That is it. You cannot force them. You cannot force student here. Because if you force student to stay, the student will not do something that will make you happy. So it's better to just let them go, and then they should find their way. So even though if you let students go, there are always students. So you don't have to force anybody.
Right.
So
So it means you have to go which professor will be the best for you, and you should find the best professor. If old professor behavior is not match with you, it will be not able to work out. You
exactly.
cannot you
That is
cannot. you cannot do any research if old professors bad behavior, or I mean their attitude is uh, not mismatch with you. It will be very difficult for dealing
Mm.
with the I mean bad behavior professor. So it's better to find the best professor from different university and you just change it and leave it.
Actually, the major reason why I left my former school is because of lack of communication. So I don't really know why. Maybe it's individual behavior or I don't know. So it's very difficult for you to be with a professor that don't give you a space to talk, that don't have time to that don't have time to even listen to your problem or to even help you in your progress. So I just thought of it that okay, I I I couldn't stand this for 5 or 6 years because it made me very sad. It doesn't really make sense to be with someone that don't want to speak or talk to me. So imagine if you are with a professor and your professor don't reply your email. How will you feel? Someone you work with and it doesn't even reply your email. If you send email several times, you just overlook it. You will not even reply your email. If you try to talk to your professor, you will just be like, okay, you just talk with you for 1 or 2 minutes and then leave you. So it doesn't really make sense. So that made me really sad. And I was like, okay, I can't really continue with this for 5 years. So I had to change school. That is why.
Yeah,
Because if I continue in that environment, I will not progress. Although I will know that, okay, I'm doing PhD, but first, I will not be happy. There will not be progress. So that's why I left. You complain to you, but let me tell you this. I don't want to be offensive. I don't want to be biased, but I think the problem in the country that we have, sometimes they just look at you as if they like you, but they don't. I don't know why. Is always everywhere. So they feel like, okay, you'll be working with them, but deep down, they don't like you, but they cannot really say it out. But you should know. Some people will tell you to your face, okay, I don't like you. Get out, leave our country. Why some, they will not want to tell you, but they'll be using that to act on you from their behavior. So that is exactly what is happening. Because this same person that I said is not having my time or anything. When it comes to their people, they do interact very well. So what does that say? What does that mean? That means maybe there's something in there. Maybe he doesn't like me deep down. So, it happens everywhere. It's not only to me. I have so many friends that are having this issue. And
I
about the people that you have to complain to, the professor is a faculty, is a professor, is the head. Even in some places, if you complain, they will not listen to you. So I made a complaint for my first 6 months. I complained that, okay, hey, this is what I'm facing. And it made me really sad. So what do you expect me to do? I was just told that, okay, maybe because I just started, so I have to be patient. Maybe I give it a little time. Maybe with time, things will change. But after another 6 months, there was no changes. So I just feel like, okay, I expected the school authority. The first time I made complaint, I expected them to to sit him down and talk to him about what is happening so that there will be improvement. But they did not do that. Instead, they were kind of like advising me to be patient and keep working, which doesn't really make
endure.
sense. So, and I couldn't endure in a very toxic environment. So I can't really do that.
I mean, there are many
Yeah.
good university and many good professors. They were much willing to help. So I think you are doing very well nowadays. I hope so.
Yeah, yeah. So I was trying to say the reason why the blood cancer, the reason why it spread in the body very fast, blood circulates in our body all around, whether you are sitting down, if you are walking, if you are eating, if you are sleeping, blood circulates in your body.
Right.
So it easily go around compared to lung cancer or liver cancer. So what you just mentioned, they do that through surgery. Is one part of the treatment. If you want to treat cancer, that is surgery. You can cut the part of the cancer. If you cut part of the cancer, surgery usually it does make treatment to be 100% perfect, but only few people have a chance to survive surgery sometime. You know, cancer surgery is really difficult, and also money cost is really expensive to do. So the reason why we synthesize all these products, or the reason why we use natural product, is because of the people that don't have the money to do surgery or the money to treat themselves. The idea behind the natural product is, I remember during COVID-19, there are many documentaries out there. People were taking series of things like turmeric, like ginger, and stuff like that, like spicy food, and they were treated, or they were negative from COVID-19. So that gave us idea of something, like something is really happening. That is the idea behind using natural product to treat cancer. Okay, natural product is something that came from nature. Nobody synthesized it. It's just something from nature. So now, because people have taken this and they are treated, initially they were positive and now they change to negative. That means something is in the product that made them to be negative. So that is why we are trying to yeah, that's why we are trying to to use series of natural product to treat cancer. Like maybe hopefully we come across something that will give a very good treatment. Yeah.
Okay, so the blood cancer, as you said, is spreading the whole blood, the whole body. You are focus about blood cancer. You are finding or in the process of finding how many percentage, which level of your finding.
My findings is just that to know the statistics and to know how much people have researched on it. That doesn't really mean I will do research on it. You know, there are two different research. If you say you are doing research, is either you do wet lab research, like you do the work in the lab, or you search for paper and read paper on your research. So right now, the research I'm trying to do on blood cancer, I want to do it on just like a review. I have to review the research that people have done on blood cancer, because I cannot really do the wet lab because of resources, money, and stuff like that. And also, the current lab that I am working with, they don't work with blood cancer. In addition to that, it's not just all lab that can work with blood cancer. You have to go through series of screening before they can allow you to work on blood cancer, so that it's something that can easily infect people. Even you that you are doing the research, you have to have a very deep knowledge about the research. If not, you can infect yourself. Anything about blood can easily affect anybody. You understand what I'm saying, right? So it's only few labs that are allowed to do blood research, and they need to have all the equipment before they can allow them to do research on blood cancer,
I see.
because it's really dangerous.
Right. So you want to say usually people are doing organic chemistry, but now in your case you are doing in organic chemistry. So there are
Yes,
differences.
it's different. Yeah, organic is different from inorganic. I explained that earlier. Organic, they are just like it can be small molecule, it can be big molecule, but inorganic is a compound that have like a central metals. Central metals, for example, platinum, magnesium, zinc, vanadium, chromium. So these metals will be at the center. Just look at it like this. Like if you have like a stone at the center, and the stone is linked to so many things. So now everything is now what we call inorganic. What makes it inorganic is because of the central metals it has. So the difference is very clear. Organic, it doesn't have a central metals. Inorganic, it has a central metals. That is just it.
You see. So there's you have different approach using
Yes.
inorganic chemistry. Your research can be helpful for cancer treatment, blood cancer treatment.
No, that the question is really tricky because if you are doing research and you don't have a result, although the idea is for you to solve a problem, right?
Right.
But but because you don't have a result yet, you can't really say, okay, you can't really predict the result. You cannot say, okay, you cannot boastfully say, okay, now I don't have the final result. I cannot go outside there and say, okay, my result will be like this and it must do this. No. Because at the end of your research, you might have a negative result that will make you to change your line of research or the product you are using. Although the aim is to solve the problem, like to have like a drug that will treat cancer, fine. But along the way, you might have like a negative result. It happens in research because research can give you positive and negative results. So it is always like that. The problem here is just resources, materials and resources. It's really interesting to do it, but it's not really easy it's not easy to get it done. You have to go through a lot of processes before you can do blood cancer. And you that you are doing it, you have to be a very good expert in doing it. Because if care is not taken, you can infect yourself. It's
And
just like
expensive.
yeah, it's just like people that work with like a viral project or viral object like HIV and viruses.